October 31, TechCrunch. It says, Stretch, along with counsel from both Twitter and Google, were criticized as being non-committal in some of the answers, including on the issue of banning foreign currency in political ads. Would you accept that as an accurate characterization?
I'd actually like to speak to the chair at this point. I'm not certain that this is a fair use of this committee's time. Unfair to ask me about this. This committee is looking into the issue of deliberate online falsehoods here in Singapore. Myself and my colleague and other people on this panel have come here prepared to answer questions of that and to help the committee understand it. I don't think it's fair to ask me detailed questions about evidence given by my colleague to a different parliament in a different country about activities associated with that country. And I really would like the chairman to consider whether this line of questioning is appropriate.
Yeah, okay. You want to say something?
Good. I will explain to you why. Obviously, the 15-minute break has helped you decide whether you will or will not answer the questions. And the reasons why.
That's genuinely not what I'm trying to do. I'm really trying to understand why we are not talking about the issues about Singapore, about deliberate online falsehoods here, about what our companies are doing about this. And instead you wish to discuss evidence given by my colleague to a parliament, to a really long, in fact 3 long sessions in the US Congress, to ask me detailed questions about exactly what was said. I do not think that's a good use of our time. I really respectfully suggest. And that is not because I don't want to answer your questions.
Mr. Milner,
if you want to get to something, get to it. Then let's have other people answer some questions.
Mr. Milner, I think you should leave it to us to decide what is relevant, what is not relevant. But if you're unable to answer questions because you don't know or do not wish to answer the question, please state so. All right?
Thank you.
Let me explain to you why this is very relevant, Mr. Milner. I spent most of my career looking at what's relevant and irrelevant. The questions before the UK Parliament were very relevant in exploring the degree to which you can be trusted. Facebook can be trusted to answer questions when asked. Facebook can be trusted to be a reliable partner, that a government of Singapore can depend on Facebook to tell us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in proceedings where the witnesses are sworn, or whether you will do everything you can to give lawyers' answers or lawyered answers. And as I told you earlier, one looks at the sequence of conduct from 2015 to 2018, and the very first time you accepted responsibility for Cambridge Analytica publicly, when did that happen? And why did that not happen earlier? And to what extent can we take seriously all these protestations that you can be completely trusted to apply your internal guidelines? It's very relevant. And if you thought that you could turn up here today, not answer questions on Cambridge Analytica, and explain your answers today with your answers less than 5 weeks ago to a different parliament, we are all sovereign parliaments, but we look at your conduct all around the world, and we have to understand. Second, why are we looking at these answers? We are looking at our national security, the consequences we have. By looking at your answers elsewhere, it's clear, and you have confirmed, you will not decide on whether something is true or false. You will not take down something simply because it is false. You will take it down if there is a legal obligation on you. And your argument, up to very recently, through the written representations, through the public statements, through all public positions that you have taken, in essence, is that you will prefer to be regulating yourself with your internal guidelines. That's my sense of it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And that you do not want to be regulated. In that context, we are asking you these questions. If you are embarrassed about being confronted with answers that your colleagues have given to other parliaments, you can say so. If you feel unable to support them, of course you can say so. But I think you will leave the relevance of the questions to me, and for me to be directed by the chair. Can we move on? I don't need an answer from you. This is, of course, not a select committee to examine the evidence for Operation Cold Store. Nor is this a select committee to examine the activities of the Communist Party of Malaya. And then,
Mr. Shanmugam, I'm
Yes.
aware of all this. This is in the historical record.
I understand.
Are you getting somewhere with this question?
I will, let's have some ground rules.
Yes.
We ask the questions, we refer you to such material as we think is relevant. You try not to interrupt when the question is being asked, and then you answer the question that is asked.
Golly, no one gets to answer a question,
Thank you.
ask a question in Singapore,
Yes.
do they?
Thank you. We will unfortunately have to go back to some of the theory we have both been learning on communism. Let's look at what we saw, Mr. Lee's speech. And you will give us the seized Communist Party records and the special branch. You will refer us to the special branch records in due course. Okay?
Yes, yes.
Let's put a mark on
Although
that.
you are Minister for Home Affairs and ISD is under your remit, so you have those documents already.
Well, I would prefer that they come from you.
Oh, well, I'm very honored you trust me more than the Internal Security
No,
Department.
it's not a question of trust. We are sitting here as a select committee, and you say you have referred to these documents. I would like to get them from you
Okay,
and see what you have referred to.
okay.
Okay. These unions appreciated they were under the control of the CPM. He's talking about two
In
different
addition
things.
to this page, we have plenty of evidence from Special Branch that he did not have.
Mr. Dr. Thum, please answer the question that I've asked. Can I suggest to you that there is no contradiction between those two statements?
You can suggest that, I wouldn't agree with it.
Okay, so in your view, there is a contradiction.
Yes.
I cannot, with any degree of accuracy, place a public figure on the numbers of people be controlled among the voting
Can
public.
I clarify, am I only supposed to answer that question with reference to this one paragraph?
Yes, first.
Well, then the question cannot be answered. We
Well,
don't
the
base
question-
our arguments on one single page.
The reason why they didn't succeed was because of Operation Cold Store. And perhaps that might...
Singapore isn't mentioned in there, remember?
Yes.
The Malayan Communist Party
You
did not have
know
a significant
as well as I
presence
do
below the causeway,
that
on our side of the
when
causeway.
CPM, when they refer to Malaya, are you disagreeing that they refer to Malaya and Singapore together?
No, they're referring to Malaya. Malaya refers to the entire peninsula, yes. But we've also established through Jinping's own words that they had no significant presence in Singapore.
No, we didn't establish that. But
Well, it was on the
let
screen
me-
earlier.
If you look at the historians, Lee Ting Hui, Turnbull, Drysdale, Richard Clutterbuck, all of whom I assume you would be aware of,
Yes.
all referred to the,
Sorry, Drysdale was not a historian.
I stand corrected. We
perspectives
know
I
that some of
use.
them you haven't even read. I mean, you said that earlier.
I also note you haven't shown me a single special branch document, which is
Yes.
the most coherent
Well, I'm
and
not
largest
claiming.
archive of
I'm
data.
not claiming to be a historian. I'm simply asking you whether
I'm
you
sorry,
think it
this
is.
is grasping at straws. The fact that he doesn't mention
Dr.
Lim
Thum, I
Chin Siong.
don't need your characterization. Please.
You've been characterizing my
I'm asking you a
my
question.
statements.
Taken on the face of it, suggests that now he was convinced that they needed to be arrested. Correct?
On the face of it, it does suggest that.
Thank
I do interrogate this document if you would give me the chance to explain it.
Well, I think what we need to do is to move on. And
Whoa,
then-
come on. You've asked me to interrogate so many documents. This is a document I have actually interrogated, and I explain, in great detail in my
Yes,
work the
but-
issues with this document, and now we're not going
Dr.
to
Thum,
address it at
we
all.
will address it, but in a while. Let me just run through
Is that a
few
promise?
documents.
We will come back to this
We
document.
can come back to it, and
No,
if you want
we
to come
will.
back it, we will come back to
We
this
will.
document.
Okay, thank you. I'll hold you to that.
We
Thank
will
you.
come back. Now, if they believed all of that, then the case for the security action is quite clear. Would you accept that? If they honestly believed all of that.
First of all,
Now,
both
please
self-
answer my question.
Well, I'm trying to answer your question.
It's capable of a yes or no, followed by an explanation.
Well, then I'll just say no and explain.
Okay.
So first of all, both Selkirk and Moore backtrack from this position.
Thank you. I call the meeting to order. Remind the witness that he's still under oath. Okay, Mr. Shanmugam, please proceed.
We are going to refer to the telegram of 14th of December 1962. The Carters took on themselves to go and do a lot. That doesn't prove there is no conspiracy. In fact, that indeed proves there was a conspiracy, but it was not tightly organized. But let's not get into this.
Wait, the lack of a conspiracy proves there's a conspiracy? I'm
That's
not
not
sure
what I
what you're
said.
saying. Yeah, what are you saying?
That's not what I said. I'm quite clear what I
Yes.
mean.
Yes.
I don't need an answer from you.
Okay.
All I'm saying to you is what you have said doesn't prove that there is no communist involvement in the Hockley bus riots. Can you look it up and submit it?
Okay. The book's in any library.
Yeah.
I probably have a copy at home.
We have it, but probably not here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, as there are no further questions, Dr. Thum, thank you very much for your very many long hours over here. In the next few days, we'll send you a transcript of these proceedings. If there are any errors or any amendments you need to make, please make the corrections and send it back to us. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Dr.
Mr.
Thum.
Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Shanmugam.
Clark, can you bring the next witnesses up to the witness table, please?